Hi everyone, I'm Gabby Kaplan-Mayer. I direct Whole Community Inclusion for Jewish Learning Venture, and I'm so grateful that you're joining me today to talk about making Passover meaningful and accessible for all kids. So, we say in the 4 questions, why is this night different from all other nights? And for our kids who have autism, cognitive disabilities, or sensory sensitivities, difference can be really challenging. And so we want to actually start now to prepare kids to get ready for the seder and to bring them on board, so that when the difference comes, they're ready for it. It will reduce everyone's anxiety to do little planning and preparation with your kids ahead of time. The ideas and the resources that I'm sharing today are helpful for all kids. I'm going to put all the links in this Facebook Live when we're done, so you'll be able to access everything. I always share I'm the mom of a 16-year-old son who has autism and cognitive differences, so a lot of my ideas just come from the experience we've had, as well as working with many families through Whole Community Inclusion who have kids of all different abilities. Music. Get your kids familiar with the songs you're going to sing at the Seder, with learning the 4 questions by playing it now on jkidphilly.org. We've got an awesome Spotify list. Put it on in the car. Sing with your child. We have really fun videos from Shalom Sesame and Bim Bam. If your kid uses an iPad or a tablet, there's some really fun apps you can get going. And I wanted to show you some amazing resources that you can use from our friends from Gateways in Boston. I'll put the link up there. They make incredible visual versions. This is Manish Tana Halayla Hazeh. They have prayers that are in the Seder, and they have social stories, they have games, they have many things that you can print and download to help get your child ready if they are someone who can benefit from having words and picture symbols. And I will give a shout out. Gateways created this beautiful Haggadah a couple of years ago, and you can order them for your family to use. They have inside the some beautiful pictures of real kids, as well as the picture symbols. So that is something that you could get now and start looking at with your child. I think it's really important to make a plan for your Seder and think about the sensory environment. Is it going to be a large gathering where you're going to be with lots of extended family? If so, see if there's a quiet room where your child can go if he or she becomes overwhelmed. If it's going to be in your house, you have a little bit more control about what the table looks like. I'm going to just show you some things that I've used at my Seder. Model Magic. This is really fun. It's also kosher for Passover, by the way. There's no actual dough in it, different from Play-Doh, if that's important to you. So if you haven't used it, it's really fun. It's a Crayola product that's very squishy. Let's see, I don't know if I can open a pack here, but I put it out all over my Seder table and invited all of my guests, kids, teens, and adults, to do something like create a scene in in ancient Egypt of what they imagine it might look like. And for my son, who has a lot of sensory-seeking behaviors, it's really comforting for him to have the Model Magic there on the table. So it's something that's good for him, will be good for all your kids, but I'll tell you, my adult guests absolutely love it. I also have a lot of tactile Seder puzzles and toys on the table. This is a really cool wooden Seder plate that I've had for many years that my son can touch. He can take the pieces in and out. It came with the matzahs, the 3 matzahs. This is really cool. The wooden matzahs here have they're a puzzle piece. So it doesn't doesn't mean that you can't have your beautiful Seder plate all decorated and your beautiful matzah with the actual pieces, but having some of these fun tactile Passover toys that your kids can enjoy. I have some dolls. I collect a lot over the years, and you can find stuff at a local Judaica shop and also online. There's so many ways, Benny's Judaica and Amazon, where you can find cool stuff. I also have fidgets available. If your child has a difficult time sitting, if dinner is usually like a 10-minute thing and we're expecting a child to sit maybe for at least an hour, what are things that you can bring that are quiet? You see these stretchy toys that are not going to be disruptive to the Seder experience, but might help your child attend and sit a little longer. This is another favorite visual one. And just as I've said, what I've observed is that for many adults, the Seder might feel a little long, or at certain points they tune out, and just having some quiet fidgets can be a cool thing to add when you're thinking about your table and setting up your table. I also love coloring, and our JKid Philly Haggadah, which you can find online at jkidphilly.org. You can see here the Seder plate that you can color, and lots of spaces where kids can make their own pictures. Depending on your child's abilities, you may want to have markers, you may want to have crayons, may want to have dot paints. But this is a really beautiful Seder that that you can have those coloring materials available. We also have, this is a really good tool we created with JKid Philly. It's online at jkidphilly.org. It's a placemat, actually, that kids can color and follow along with the order of the Seder. So many of our kids need schedules, need visual schedules to know what their day is going to be like. And this is actually like a schedule of where we are on the Seder. So if a child is needing to take a break and they leave, they can see, oh, how far are we? When's the meal coming? Speaking of the meal, I really encourage families to give kids a good snack, something they're gonna like, before the Seder even begins. We know that food can be a challenging issue for kids who have food sensitivities or sensory sensitivities around eating. There are a lot of strong smells at the Passover Seder too. The maror certainly, but even like gefilte fish and the egg, maybe some foods that the kids aren't used to smelling, maybe a little overwhelming for them. So one thing you can do is actually do a little bit of sample smelling before. Get your jar of maror, open it up, let the child take a whiff and get used to what that's going to be like. And I think the Seder is never a time to push new foods. For many years my son at the Seder probably ate matzah and fruit and maybe some carrot sticks, and that was it. Even the matzah ball soup and the matzah kugel and all the things that many of us look forward to, the texture may be a little bit weird for kids who have different sensory sensitivities. I should mention too that our PJ library books are a wonderful way to get your kids ready and thinking about what's coming for the Seder. This is just a really lovely, simple book, What I Like About Passover. Here in Philadelphia, we help families find the right developmental level for PJ library books. So let's say you have a 6 or 7-year-old, but developmentally they may be closer to a 3 or 4-year-old. Just contact us and we can make sure you're getting the books that are going to help your child the most. This is something else we created. It's up on jkidphilly.org. That's a read, ask, and do about different ways to get ready for Passover. Another great way to engage your kid is in the preparation that comes beforehand. There are things that kids of every ability and age can do. Maybe going Passover shopping with you and helping to look for the special kosher for Passover items. your room. Never a favorite thing for any of our kids, but if we, explain that we're all participating in cleaning, find the job that excites the child. I remember when my daughter was little, she loved using spray bottles with cleaners, and so that was her job for getting ready for Passover. She would do windows, she would do mirrors, she just, find what will engage your child. And finally, as busy as you are getting ready for Passover, think about the ways that you can capture some of the memories of your child. So photos of the cleaning of your Passover shopping trip. Shoot a little video if you're singing the 4 questions together or another fun Passover song. Put them in an album or make a slideshow on your computer, however you share photos. And then next year, when it's this time of year and you're thinking back to Passover and what worked and what was successful, you can have photos of those moments. And finally, I want to say, our children continue to grow and change just as we do. My family certainly had many years where my son was not able to sit for longer than maybe 15 or 20 minutes. We had babysitters at times help us. We had some of my son's aides come and be there. And as he's grown older, we've been able to increase the length of our seder and what we're able to do. So I'm here. I'm always a resource. I'd love to hear what your challenges are, what works in your home, what resources, what your favorite videos and songs are. We'll add them all to the links. And I'm wishing you and your family a sweet and happy Passover.